You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today is Friday, February 23rd, 2024. 24. Oof, look at that. We are at the end of another week. You know what? The way that with the way that we deliver content, it makes the weeks feel like they're flying by. Time is flying by, and that is why I focus so heavily on the time cost calculator. All right, which we're going to get into today. If you do not know who I am your host of the morning show and the host of the Tech Coach Ralph channel. I am Tech Coach Ralph, where we are, as always, engineered to win. Yes, we are about engineering our lives in a winning mentality, a winning strategy. We strategize, we plan, and we execute. Right. So that is our goal here. And that's the hope, and the hope that I hope to that's what I hope to put into you, that mindset, that drive, the knowledge, the ability to work hard and grind every single day so that you can get to where you want to be, right? That's the ultimate goal. My goal is to help you get to where you want to be. And so I put out so much content on a daily basis to help you figure it out. All right. So with that being said, we do have our Bug Bite episode coming out at noon today. We're going to be talking about Elon Musk and his fight with the state of Delaware. And if you haven't heard, he is moving SpaceX to Texas. All right, so the incorporation at least, right? So check out the Bug Bite episode today at noon Eastern time, and we'll go from there. And then Sunday we are going to be going live with some more Terraform. And I'm going to be scheduling all the shows for next week, probably by tomorrow. And, we do what we do, all right? So let's get into our news segment of the show. All right. Let me go like that. All right, cool. So let's jump into the news. I'm also using my Mellow keyboard. I call this my travel Mellow keyboard. As opposed to my aggressive, loud, focused keyboard, right? Because it's Friday, so we're gonna be a little bit chill today. Got some things I'm gonna be working on Terraform at work today, amongst other stuff, But we're going to try to relax just a little bit today, just a little, not too much, right? So let's get our timer up, and our 5 minutes are on the clock, and let's get to it. All right. So the first news article we're going to be talking about is many grads take wrong first job. And you know what? I would probably agree with that. But it's also might be because of their major. But let's get into the article and see, right? So written by Kate Chapman, editor at LinkedIn News. It says around half of college grads wind up with jobs that don't require their degrees, according to the research at the Burning Glass Institute and Strata Education Foundation. That matters because bachelor's degrees holders in college level jobs earn nearly 90% more than those without degrees. The degree holders in jobs that don't require one earn only 25% more. What's more, the first job a college grad takes can determine whether their career path will match their degree, skills, and earning potential, per the new study. Switching career paths after the first job gets harder as online hiring algorithms tend to keep people in the same lane, one management professor said. Getting an internship in college greatly improves one's chance of securing a college level job upon graduation, the study finds. I should have saved this for the last for our last news story, but this is totally true. Let's highlight some parts of this real quick, right? So we're going to be highlighting. Let's see. So this part, because so many people, all right. I'll put it straight out like this, right? What you're going to learn in college, it doesn't necessarily translate to the job that you're going to do. So, like, let's say you go for computer science, right? There's going to be some things that you're going to take from it, but most of the stuff that you're going to be learning is once you get on the job, you might have the concept and the theory, but it's going to be like working within the field. Like, they don't teach you agile in college. They don't teach you testing in college. All the things that like you use in the workplace, they don't teach it to you. But the college degree is the part, like, everyone's looking for a college degree and stuff like that. And now that goes to when you start talking about like, boot camps and stuff like that, it's different. And one other thing I want to highlight on, the first job that you take can determine whether your career path matches with your degree. It also depends on the degree that you have, because a lot of people, they have these degrees that don't really have jobs that match, and then they get upset and then they get mad because they end up as a barista somewhere. So you got to keep that in mind. And switching career paths after the first job gets way harder. So when people, they're in a career for like 10, 15 years, and then they want to make a transition, they take a boot camp for 6 months and they're like, okay, now I'm ready. And they see it's not as easy as you thought, right? So it's whatever they might tell you, you really have to do your research, and you really have to strategize, get mentors and stuff like that to actually get there, okay? And then lastly, getting the internship. We spoke about it on Tuesday, where it says, oh, don't take any free internships, or unpaid internships is what they call it, right? Well, getting that internship in college greatly improves your chance of securing a college level job upon graduation. So something to take into mind, something to take into consideration. If you think you are so high and mighty that you can't get paid with experience, then you might find yourself not being able to secure that job upon graduation. All right. So that was that one. Let's get into the next one. Teamsters taking on beer giants. So, more union stuff, right? So major label battles are brewing between the Teamsters Union and America's biggest beer makers. Some 400 Teamsters are already on strike at a Molson Coors site in Fort Worth, Texas, and another 5,000 members are set to walk off the job at Anheuser-Busch next month. The workers are demanding better pay. Anheuser-Busch and Molson Coors, the nation's two largest brewers. Last week, Molson Coors CEO touted the highest reported top and bottom line figures in the history of the company in 2023, while Anheuser-Busch sales took a hit after a controversial Bud Light social media promotion that featured a transgender influencer. And this is larger scale labor protests rebounded last year with the highest number of strikes, 33, dating back to 2000. So I'm going to save everybody some trouble, right? This is what's going to happen. They are going to negotiate. And then Anheuser-Busch and Molson Coors are going to say, okay, we're going to give you whatever you want. And then a month or two later, they're going to lay off half of the people who were, they're going to lay off half of the people who are on strike and stuff like that. That's what always happens. And, so let's just I'm getting used to it. I got it now. So that's what's pretty much going to happen in the very coming next few months. They're going to settle, and then the companies are going to lay off, and then the people who are protesting for a little bit more money are going to be upset because now they have absolutely nothing. So that is where we're at. All right. And then let's get to the last story before we get to work. It says Vice site to shut down, layoffs loom. Vice Media will stop publishing Vice.com and lay off several hundred people early next year. The New York Times reports, citing a company memo. Vice has gone from a globe-spanning digital colossus to a host of its former self, filing for bankruptcy and emerging under new leadership or new ownership last year. Fortress Fortress Investment Group has tried to unsuccessfully to sell the brand, per the Wall Street Journal, and the latest cutbacks are an attempt to make Vice profitable again. It is also in advanced talks to sell the woman-focused site Refinery 29 at a rough time for media more broadly. Yep, media is going out of style. More people are getting their information on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and stuff like that, and it just and we're finding out that the news sources they're just as credible as a lot of the stuff that you read online and that you get from fake bloggers and stuff like that. It's pretty much what these news sites are turning into. All right, so let's just do a quick run of the other news stories that we didn't touch on. Cyber attack causing pharmacy delays. Reddit files to go public on the New York Stock Exchange. Does age influence where you live? Probably. A healthier Beyond Meat burger. Is it made out of actual meat? Then we'll see. A Google halts AI image generation. Yale embraces test scores again, and IRS launches free tax filing site. All right, so that is our news for today. Let's go back to the full screen. All right, we have Mitch in the building. What's going on, Mitch? Good to see you. Good to see you. I know it's early, but I missed you last night, so I had to throw one. You're probably still recovering from all that talking on Tuesday. So, and I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I'm like, all right, I don't know if we're gonna see Mitch tonight. If I can just get a thumbs up, but happy to have you here, and hope you're having a great morning and you're heading into a great weekend. All right, so let's go ahead and I have to open what's the name of that tool? Android Studio. I don't know what's going on with this button. All right. Let's try that again. Let's try to do that again. All right, cool. And no worries, Mitch. It is all good. I appreciate your support and I hope everything is all right. Okay. I don't know. I think my bot went on vacation, but we'll figure it out over the weekend. All right. So where are we now? Let's put up 25 minutes on the clock. All right. So when we left off, we were writing tests for our we're writing tests to validate that the hours, minutes, and seconds were being formatted and calculated correctly. So we know our formula is working correctly, right? Let's share the screen. We know that our formula is working correctly. We have unit tests to confirm that, right? Now we want to make sure that on the actual application on the widget that the formula is being used and it's rendering and it's like displaying the values correctly with like the right formatting of currency and everything like that, right? We could probably like target it some more to add some like to test to make sure like the color is red and stuff like that. But we can always get into that later, right? So last time the issue that we had was so I can show you, right? But this is how we fixed it. We had to add you could add either tester.pump or test without pump and settle. I'm not really sure what the difference between the two is. Let's see. Repeatedly calls pump with the given duration until there's no longer any frames scheduled. This will call pump at least once, even if no frames are scheduled when the function is called to flush any. So, I mean, we could either use pump or I'm gonna go with pump, right? I think pump just does it once. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure the difference. We can always fix that later on, but well, you know, what, let's find out. Let's find out what the difference is, right? So let's go to um, all right. So I did a search for Flutter test pump versus pump and settle. Let me see if there's a comparison for the two. All right, so let's see this. By the way, I got a really cool LinkedIn connection request from a QA manager who said that they stumbled across the YouTube channel and they really appreciate the content. So that meant a lot to me, you know, seeing that I'm able to reach more people in QA and they see like the different work that we're doing. So I mean that's my goal, like, especially if I can get QA managers to if I can connect with QA managers, and then I can start getting some insight from the things that the challenges that they may be having, and how what type of content that might be useful to the QA industry. That I would love that. So I'm going to be looking for some more. I'm going to be looking to connect with some more QA managers to see like how I can help further advance the QA industry. So that's going to be really, really cool. All right. So a pump versus pump and set. All right. Flutter tests are based upon a fake system of rendering frames and performing asynchronous tasks for widgets passed to a method pump widget to the widget tester class. It draws frames as long as they are pumped manually by pump of the widget tester. To put it simply, the whole test screen filled with widgets is frozen. Oh, so when you say, all right, so okay, I think I'm understanding now, right? So when you say, so you load it up, you do whatever you're doing, and then you do pump, and now it's going to render like the current version of the frozen screen, all right? All right, so to simply put, the whole test screen is filled with frozen widgets, and it's our responsibility to thrust it forward. Moreover, all the futures are also waiting for us to move the fake clock forward by passing the duration parameters to the same method. In other words, all things are running synchronously. For instance, here we are literally shifting a clock arrow by 1000 milliseconds, right? So that means if you have like, let's say you have a clock, whether it's digital or analog, and you do test pump and you say duration for 100 milliseconds, right? You could pinpoint where on the clock that the time should be at that point, you know? So it says, however, it implies we should know how many frames we must pump consecutively. Otherwise, we're met with the semi-finished rendering and are likely to fail the test. Luckily, there's another method, pump and settle, in the same class. It runs its counterpart, pump, periodically until there is no more frames to draw, returning the number of pumped frames. In general, it's better practice to figure out exactly why each frame is needed and then pump exactly as many frames as needed. This will help catch regressions where, for instance, an animation is being started one frame later than it should. Makes sense. I mean, that really depends on what you're building. You know, some applications might not need that level of it, but that makes sense, right? Thus, they urge into using pump to avoid excess frames and therefore surplus work. Besides, pump and settle always pumps at least once and by default sets the clock forward 100 milliseconds, even if there is no such need. All right. Apart from that piece of writing, you'll hardly come across any other elaboration on the issue, let alone any recipes as to how to know how many frames is enough for any individual case. For instance, navigation tends to require two pumps, whereas for animations, the count varies from case to case. After trial and error, I've drawn the conclusion that the best approach is to use both methods, but consciously. Use pump and settle if it's a standard animation such as actions of widget tester as tap, show keyboard, etc. Uh, okay. All right, so that's it for now. All right, I'll drop this link in the chat, and you can review it as necessary. But yeah, so let's go back to here, and this is what was happening, right? So let's say so I said, right, pump needs to go before the element is located in order to get the changed state, right? So we're gonna do it before we had it. Run this test, and then we'll do it after, and we'll see the difference, right? All right, so we ran it, and all right, so you see right here, right? Nothing changed because because after we enter our text, we still need to do a pump, right? So once we do the pump or pump and settle, I tried with both and they both worked fine. We are going to run it again. And there we have it, right? So it passes, it validated that all of these are correct. We could separate this to be like, all right, validate this text. Um, and then we could do like separate this to like validate the number and validate the color and stuff like that, which we can do that at some point. But those are not those are more aesthetics and not the core functionality that we're looking for. So, and so let's focus on that first, right? So now let's see, right, what's the next test we're going to jump into? So we have this to do. I put a check here. Find out how to target inside. So I'm gonna put on a let's see if we can get some type of emoji that I can put here to know that we still need to do that. Where's my, all right. Can we find some type of emoji? Let's say question mark. Put this one. Where'd it go? All right, there we go. So we'll leave that, knowing that we still need to do this, and this is done. This is done. But I didn't want to remove the to-dos yet because I wanted to be able to quickly be able to identify them. Right, there we go. Okay, so let's pick another test, right? Okay, what would be the next most important test? So typically when we're doing this with test-driven development, we would be like writing the test and then we'd be writing the production code. But because 2 weeks ago we were like, all right, we need to figure out how to use Flutter first. So I decided to just start writing the code first and then figure out how to do the testing. So that's why we're going back to writing our test. So I say the next one that we could do. So test. So this one, test hourly minute formulas are being displayed correctly. So this one is actually done because I think that's what we're doing here. Well, maybe it's like with the colors and stuff like that. So we'll say with colors slash formatting, and that way we can target the individual part to make sure they're red. but that one is not like to me. That's not as an important test, so we can figure that out after. Let's go to um. Let's go to this one. That it's calculating it correctly on the. That it's calculating it correctly on the display, right? So because we know that it's calculating correctly, um, in the actual formula where like because we have our unit test, but now we are writing our widget test widget, and we want to say validate the cost of the activity. How does it do it? Oh, that's the all right. That's the input field for the activity cost. To validate the activity cost input field is displayed correctly. This one isn't the formula for the activity cost. It's the when you put the field in there and then like the currency is formatted correctly. So let's do here. Let's close this out. So this one is going to be very similar to the other one, but let's go ahead and let's just steal some code. We're going to have to drop a key in there. So let's say we go to this one. Go to this one. So I'm gonna copy this code right here. We're gonna need all of this. Not necessarily this one. I'm gonna copy all this and then we'll get rid of what we don't need. So we are gonna need this one. We are going to need let me pull up a picture, a screenshot of the app so we can see what exactly it is that we're doing that we're testing. So if we go into here, let me drop. Mm, Let's copy. Okay. So let me close this and let's say we put this here. Not the right screenshot though. Let me see. Okay, so on this one, we are putting in the. Oh, look at that! The bot finally woke up. Welcome to the chat, Mr. Bot. Been on vacation since the past 2 days now. All right. Let's get to it. All right. So this one right here is doing this field, right? Um, and what we want to do is so we're putting that, and then so this is going to be calculated. So we already have this testing that this is going to be calculating correctly, so we don't need to revalidate that. What we want to get to is we want to get to this screenshot where we're adding, not this screenshot. It's probably going to be where is that screenshot? Total amount of time spent on category. So, or on activity. So, we're going to go into we're going to go here and we're going to say, which is still a slightly TDD, but not exactly. We're going to say the field for input total time spent on activity equals find dot by key constant key, and then we're going to call that total time spent on activity, right? That's going to be the key for that one. And we're going to say the number that we're going to, the number that we're going to spend on this activity, or I should say not total time, but total, because we're doing it total hours spent. And then it comes with the same, oh my God, this bot. Okay, total hours, and we're going to say, so we're going to say user total hours input equals, say 4.5, right? And we can change this. Let's change this to 80, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 80,000, they're spending 4.5 hours. Okay. So now we are going to say, all right, so we're passing this in here, right? And let's do now we're going, let's take this key right here. Let me close this. And I'm going to move this under here. And let's close this out. All right, there we go. We can close this out now. So now, all right. So now we have a good view. We have our screenshot. We have our production code on the bottom, and we have our test code on the top. So think about it like this, right? We see the visual, we write our test code, we have it to fail, and then we jump down here and write our production code. And now we have a cycle of, and usually like when doing TDD, we don't really need that visual element, but because let's say we're doing like widget testing, so we might need a visual element, and it helps us, right? So we have this cycle going here. This is our write the test, write a failing test, get it to pass, refactor, right? The circle of test-driven development. All right, so we're gonna go down here and we're going to find activity cost calculator and total amount spent on activity. And we're gonna go look for the text input field, text form field. And we're gonna say, is there a key available for this? Yes, there is. And then we're gonna say const, and then we're gonna say key, and then we're gonna go like that, and like that. And let's format this file a little bit. All right, cool. There we go. We have our key. All right, so now we have that, and we're going to say, so await tester enter input field, and then we're going to say await tester dot enter text, and we're going to say input total hours on activity, and we're going to say user total hours, um, user total hours input, convert that to a string, just like we did the other one, and then we want how does this format? I think it just formats as like 4.5 actually. So we're gonna say I don't think there's any special formatting to it, to be honest. This says it's probably not as relevant, but whatever. And so we say entered user hourly activity or hours spent on activity. And like, I love to have very clear to understand variable names, right? I know some people like they like X and Y and all this stuff that makes absolutely no sense. I just like my code to be very, very readable. So let's go with this field. Mm, And we go to value stored from user input on hours spent on activity field. And we're going to, there's no currency for this one. It's going to be yeah, there's no currency on that one. Uh, so let's see what this returns to us because it's just really just the so get uh get user enter time spent on activity in hours. So that's that. And then we're going to put in number of total hours spent. So we actually don't even need, to be honest with you, we don't really need the we don't really need this part for now because right now we're only validating if we put so all right. I'll fix that later, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna eventually get rid of it. But all right, so let's go all right, so let's just finish this up. We're almost done. So let's say entered we're gonna say this is here. And we're gonna say value stored here and input from user on time spent on activity and expected values are not equal. Let's see. We have all of that. Yeah, like I was saying, we don't need this part right here. I'm gonna comment it out for now to see what happens. because this test is just for that, but for like the next test, we definitely would need it, right? So I'll copy this test over for the next one. Um, but and then we can clean up this test because I want my test to be as clear and as clean as possible. So let's go ahead and run this, see what we get. Look at that. Let's see. Time spent on activity, 4.5. Cost and our test pass. The value and the value stored on the field, they both match. All right. So there we go. And there is zero cost to the activity. So zero cost to activity because we're not testing on that on this one, which we could, but I'd rather keep the test separate. Um, because but you'll see it in the output because we are printing it out, right? If we go here, here, here. Yeah, we're gonna do a separate test just for that, right? It looks like it might be looking like it's like too redundant and stuff like that, but it's good practice to have your to have like very small tests that are testing a very specific thing, right? So you see there we go, right? Based on 80,000, the hourly value is $9.13. The time spent on the activity is four and a half. And the thing is, but if we were to actually output this right now, we wouldn't get this value because we would still need to pump it. So I think that's our next test that we're gonna do, right? So here's what we're gonna do. Just for now, just so I don't have to like type this whole thing over again, I'm gonna comment these fields out. And then we will copy this test over. And then I can delete this from this code because we don't need it anymore. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put a little emoji here to say, let's say what do we have for fix? Let's go with the what this. And the last thing that we'll do today is we'll just prep our next test, right? Create test to verify or to validate the um, time cost of activity renders correctly, right? So that's going to be our next test. And we'll just write it in. That'd probably be validate activity time cost renders state renders correctly. Tester, and we're gonna go with a sync. Right, so our test is gonna go in here. And I might work on it over the weekend. If not, then when we come back on Monday morning, we will continue this together. But we have this test. We have this test right here that is good now, and we have a good suite of tests, right? Let's see if we can Let's see what happens. Let's get a little crazy real quick, right? Let's say we go here and we go to run all the tests. What happens there? Because we should always make sure that like we have to run a suite of our tests to make sure we didn't break anything in adding new stuff, right? See, one of them is failing right here. Oh, but this one is failing because this one is failing because of the way that we enter it, which we do have plans to make some adjustments to that, where we would like if we enter a decimal, that's going to give you some type of warning or something like that. But this is good. All right. So look at that. We have all of our tests failing. We have some good tests. We have our unit tests. We have our widget tests, and we're just going to be adding to it as we go along. All right. So going forward, we're going to be doing this in the right way. And then we're going to be cleaning up code as well. All right. So let's get back to full screen. We are done for the day. So what do you think about that? Testing our widgets, getting advancing in Flutter, getting a better understanding of using Flutter. We've got our stores in test mode in the App Store. We have our widget tests, right? So, getting a clean app, we have some recommendations that we're going to be implementing as well. So much is going on. Very, very cool. As I get these tests done and add some enhancements, I'm going to update the apps, the test versions of the apps in the store, and then make it even more available for more people to test. And we'll go from there, right? So you are with me on this journey of, building mobile apps, going through the iteration of adding more features, adding tests, all that good stuff. So that's what we're doing. Like I said, we repurposed the mornings to something to be a little bit more productive, and we are learning so much. We are digging into code. We are, building, putting stuff in the App Store, writing unit tests, writing widget tests, just a whole new domain. So many things to learn, how we Google, how we research, all of that stuff, right? Similar to what we did last night, trying to figure out how to get the React project to work on using safe sets, all right? So if you haven't seen that, I definitely recommend you go check that out, see the trials and tribulations, have some fun with us. Look at during our breaks, we watched some of Uncle Bob's videos. We read through Bridget's article on how to successfully network, all of that good stuff, right? So I'm gonna head out. Don't forget we have the bug bite coming in at noon. If you haven't done so yet, go ahead and like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live. And I think that's it. I'll be back live on Sunday afternoon. We're going to be continuing to work on Terraform. That's about it. So, Mitch, once again, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate you. And I hope you have a great day. I hope everyone has a great day. And yeah, that's it. We are out. I will talk to you guys on Sunday.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.